Hello everybody and welcome back to Evolving Vibes. I'm glad that you're joining me back again, and as always, if you're new to this channel, please be sure to like, subscribe, leave me a comment, hit the notification bell, let me know that you're there, and let me know what kind of content you might want to see. Now, besides the daily tarot readings and some of the spiritual aspects that I've been going through inside of the channel, one of the things I was thinking about today, and for the past couple of days actually, is putting together a Wheel of the Year type short videos. And so this is going to be my first one I'm actually doing. This one's going to be on Ostara, which is, that's right, coming up March 21st, which is the spring equinox. And we'll talk more about that. And if you stay towards the end of the video, I'm going to show you my Ostara altar and how I set it up, and some of the reasons why it's set up that way. But to start off with, I'm just going to break out my grimoire and talk a little bit about Ostara and what it actually means to us. So when we look at the Wheel of the Year, from a pagan standpoint or from a witch standpoint, a couple of things come to mind. First and foremost, it's been traditions that's been practiced and rituals that have been worshipped and ongoing for eons and eons. A lot of the Christian holidays that we celebrate and that we see are actually based upon the Wheel of the Year, the pagan Sabbaths, if you will. And Ostara is also one of them, depending upon who you talk to and what books that you read. But Ostara is the celebration of the spring equinox. It's celebrating the fact that we're actually moving forward within the season. We're actually advancing within our wheel. And a big portion of that from this holiday is rebirth and new beginnings. Now, that being said, Ostara is the Sabbath that we celebrate. In some of the pagan cultures, it's also called Ostara, and that's E-O-S-T-R-E. Ostara is a Norse goddess, or god, I should say goddess, sorry, of fertility. And estrogen is actually, the name is based off of Ostara. And so when we look at Ostara and you see Ostara, they coincide side by side. They're the same exact Sabbath. It just depends upon culturally which side that you want to call it. Now, that being said, it begins, spring equinox is March 21st in the northern hemisphere. If we went to the southern hemisphere, i.e. Australia, that's just flipped opposite. So what they would be celebrating as a Sabbath on March 21st would be the fall equinox. And they would be celebrating the return of autumn and getting ready for Samhain, which is just a couple of months away. And that's the biggest difference between the two hemispheres. Now, what do we do for a celebration? It really is all dependent upon you, whatever you choose that you want to do. One of the things that I enjoy doing is setting up my altar with colors that, for me, remind me of spring. And I like to do rituals that are based upon fertility. Now, I'm not saying specifically to have kids, but I'm saying fertility, meaning whatever intentions I'm planting right now are going to grow based on this time of season, this time of year. So I do a lot of abundance type spells. I do a lot of well-being and reset and new beginning type rituals. And this is the time where I start putting my projects for the next 5 or 6 months on paper. And I do a ritual with that to make sure that I'm able to maintain the timelines of those projects, that I'm able to get all the resources I need and available to me to be able to complete those projects, and so on and so forth. So basically, the type of rituals that we'd be looking at doing are things that we want to grow in intention, things where we want to grow into a situation, grow into a new lifestyle, if you will. And that's why it's based on fertility. Along with that, it's literally based on fertility, right? So this is the time of year, if you're looking at pregnancy and you're looking at children, where you start planning things out and obviously doing the actions necessary for that too, in order to make it come forward and come to fruition. Now, some of the other things that you can do for Ostara, and one of the things I do quite a lot throughout the year, but also on Ostara, is offerings. Offerings to the deities of your choice. Along with that, offerings to the Sabbath itself, which can be seeds, it can be eggs that you put sigils on, it can be bread that you might bake and offer to the universe. Me personally, I do seeds. I do seeds on my altar, but then I go out and I put seeds out in the yard, in different areas, so that everyone has a chance at eating something. I'll do the same thing with some vegetables, and I'll do the same thing with some meat, so that everyone literally has a chance at celebration, having some extra. And it's just something I've been doing now for many, many years, and it's a great fit for me. The other aspect of Ostara that you can do is your own shadow work. Really starting to nurture that inner child, really starting to bring that inner child out and doing some of the work that's necessary in order for that inner child's wounds to heal. I keep a journal is another aspect of Ostara that you can do with what it is that you want over the next month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. It's all basically whatever it is you want to do. Now, Ostara is the 21st as listed in my grimoire here. However, many pagans celebrate it between the 20th and the 23rd. So there's no real bad time to do it, obviously. Celebration and ritual is celebration and ritual. You're utilizing the energy of that cycle in those 3 days time period. So it really is all about your intention, right? I celebrate on the 21st because that's the day of equal sunlight and equal nighttime. That's what the spring equinox actually is all about. And so I like to celebrate it on that day because that's the day of bringing in balance back into my life. That's the day of grounding myself, balancing my realm, so to speak. So there's a lot of things that I like to do in that time frame, which help me to balance and help me to ground. And for me, it just goes a bit further. Now, there's some contention about Ostara, Ostara itself. One of the aspects that comes up quite frequently is this was the pagan Sabbath of rebirth and new life. And the Christians took it and called it Easter. And it's no non-fact that many of the pagan Sabbaths that were celebrated were actually adapted by Christianity in order to get more pagans to join Christianity. When you look at Christmas, that is actually another Sabbath, right? It's Yule. When we look at Ostara, that in the Christian life is Easter. And Easter is very much similarly spelled to Estra, as well as sounds quite alike. So you can see it was a thin veil, if you will, in order to maintain the tradition, however, putting their own Christian mix on it. So rather than just rebirth and regrowth and the returning of life, it turned into the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. And again, I'm not knocking any religion. It is what it is, and if that's what resonates with you, have at it. I'm just explaining where some of the traditions come from. Along with that, I'm just explaining what some of the scholars believe the Christian holiday actually comes from. So if it resonates, great. If it doesn't, leave it behind. It's okay too. So that's pretty much the Ostara video. I'm going to be doing the other Wheels of the Year Sabbath as well. And I'll be doing them as they come up, but I figured I would start off with Ostara. Let me know what you think in the comments. And again, please feel free, like, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Every little bit is appreciated. Until next time, be safe, be well, and as always, be blessed. Hello everybody, welcome back to Evolving Vibes. This is just another segment of my Ostara video. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a tour of my altar set up for Ostara. So as we look at it, I've got a purple cloth down. It's one of those things that I really, really like. It resonated with me. I actually found it at Walmart. And my altar is actually a dining room table, as you can probably see by the heft of it and the largeness of it. And I use a lot of this space for a lot of different things. But I'm just going to put my camera down now so I can talk with you just a little bit more. So to begin with, my altar does actually have my athame on it, as you can see right here. I always keep that on my altar along with my wand, which is right down over here, as you can see. And of course, my Book of Shadows. Now in the background you can see some of my tarot cards and my oracle cards. I do have 6 sets that are always on the altar. Those are what I use to go back and forth with when I'm actually doing readings each and every day. Very down on the far, you're going to see my cauldron, as well as in my offering bowl, I do have an acorn that I did get from my yard outside. Pretty much everything else is exactly the way I usually have it, except for obviously the color. I keep my crystal ball on my altar for when I'm scrying, and I do a lot of different things with it, as well as some of the deities I work with. Like I said, I do a lot with Hecate. This is the key I happened upon before I actually started working with Hecate. It was almost like an invitation from her. I do things with Bridget, so there's my Bridget cross, and this is just a rusty nail that I have for protection and to keep my altar clean. Same thing goes with selenite on either end and one in the back. So that's basically how I set it up. The other big difference is I do have this glass duck. It's set up for Ostara. I was looking for something. I've been using this for quite a few years now. It rotates between the duck or between a rabbit. It's just one more little thing for Ostara and to be in that moment. Along with the other pine cone right back here that I found in my yard just actually 2 days ago. And I loved it and I brought it in. In my Book of Shadows or my grimoire, depending on how you want to look at it. And of course, Reese's got to walk across the altar because the one thing you cannot do, if you haven't already tried, is cat-proof an altar. You have to just accept that they're going to do their own thing with it. A lot of them love the magical space, and so they lay on it and they stay there themselves. So we just have to live with that. But in the beginning portion of the video, you actually saw me with my grimoire talking about Ostara and some of the things that I do with Ostara. That's just me, as I said, just as this altar is just me. You do you, and you just enjoy doing you, right? That's all that really matters. So one last aspect of the altar that I'll bring up is just exactly my candle box and some of the other stones that I work with and that I use, my mortar and pestle, as well as the 2 deities that I utilize. And if I get a little bit further, you'd actually see my yard. Now, I'm just going to bring it over this way. My yard's quite nice. I really enjoy the outdoor space. I spend a lot of time out there. So certainly this is why my altar also faces my backyard. So that's it for my altar tour for Ostara. Do hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a note in the comments. Let me know what you think. And give me some ideas, if you have ideas, of how you share and set up your Ostara altar. And things that you might want to see on mine if I haven't put them on there. Ask me questions. Why not, right? So once more, please be sure to like, subscribe, leave me a comment, and ring that notification bell. It goes a long way with helping out me as well as helping out my channel. Until next time, be safe, be well, and as always, be blessed.